One day my mom, she called me to her workplace and she said, sit down, I have something to tell you. She said, you know that I fill you out for this application which calls green card, and this government of the United States give opportunity to several countries, and a lot of them are former Soviet Union countries, to come here to the United States to live and to work, to have opportunity basically to come. And all it does, it really gives you a green light, a green card, green light. You can enter a country without any problem. And so this is what happened to me. And my mom told me that I won that lottery, and I was shocked because I said to my mom, you know, how I'm gonna do this? I don't speak English. I don't know anyone. What am I going to do?
And you were how old at the time?
I was 17 at that time.
Yeah.
Yes. What am I going to do? She said, you know, you just go. You just go, and if you're not gonna like it or something gonna be difficult for you, well, you can always come back. You can always come back. And I thought, okay, well, I will try. So when I turned 18 years old, I moved to United States and arrived to Chicago, and to Chicago, and was going on my way to Medford, which I thought was a big city.
Medford, Wisconsin.
Yes. And truly many things been happened to me there. It was probably most difficult time in my life, you know, experiences, you know, and so which led me to that point. The only what could help me then was God.
Mm-hmm. What happened then? What was the turning point for you?
When I moved from Medford to Marshfield,
Okay.
and at that time I started reading Holy Scripture, and I was fascinated each time I was opening it, because seems these stories were coming alive, and the life beginning to make sense, and so at one point I just felt that if God is Almighty, then He's the only one who can help me. And although I did not understood much who really God is and how this is all work and everything, I just remember one morning I woke up and I said this prayer to God, help me, heal me, because I cannot do this on my own anymore. And interesting too that I read just a small passage in one book, and it says, if you want to love God, call Him your Father, and tell Him that you love Him and permit Him to enter into your heart. And so only prayer I knew was Our Father, and then the second was, Father, come into my heart, and which made a very absolutely tremendous significance in my life later, and so I was fascinated by Catholicism in generally. And I thought if I would ever choose any religion, that would be Catholic Church. And I was just trying to find any information on the Catholic Church, and I was fascinated by seeing, for example, you know, like old movies, and ladies would be sitting and praying the rosaries. And
you didn't know what the rosary was.
had no idea.
But it was beautiful. You saw it was something beautiful about it.
Yes. It was so beautiful. It was still. It was just before God.
Quiet.
It was on your knees, and this is before you humbly coming before God, and this is what was fascinating me. And also the priesthood, and generally in the priests when they wear cassock, you know, I thought this is just so incredible. What a witness! What a joy! You know, that they're able to give to the world someone who is so necessary to each heart, and through their hands the Holy Eucharist sacraments are coming. So I was fascinated by this, and surely I wanted to become a Catholic. And in fact, every day which I would go to work, I would pass by church in Marshfield, Saint John the Baptist Church, and I so many times wanted to walk in, and there just had no courage. Only when I moved down to Chippewa Falls. Yes, the first time I entered was a Sacred Heart church up in Eau Claire. That was the first, and that was just from this moment I knew that I don't know anything, but I know this is this is truth right there. in the this is on the altar right there.
So you were on fire with this new faith, right?
Yeah. That was it was fire. It was really gentle, but very penetrating.
Okay, a gentle fire. A gentle fire.
But that fire, which is begin to burn, was really motivating me. I knew that I wanted to do something for God, but what? I want to dedicate my life for Him, but how? I did not know how. And so the only way I knew is to dedicate your life at that moment, just to give yourself for a mission, to become a missionary. And so I thought the greatest mission I could do right now, it is to join Peace Corps organization and go to Africa, Ethiopia, to serve there the poor. And it just like at that moment when it was all developing and I was filling out application, and I understood, just vividly realized that how can I go to Africa if I have my people back in Ukraine? How can I help these people and these people without thinking of my people over there in Ukraine, who's hungry and thirsty for faith? And to share this, I wanted to share it. I did not know how. It was just like the moment of a first a conversion, you would say, a first conversion, when you just ready to do anything. And so it was at this very moment, God helped me to understand that simply it is the mission has to happen in Ukraine, and it has to be something more so by hands than by words. We were able to provide for 45 doctors from Ukraine, different cities of Ukraine, doctors who are OBGYN practitioners. 90% of this group were OBGYN practitioners and gynecologists. And we were able to take them on a pilgrimage to Medjugorje. It's a place in Bosnia and Herzegovina when since 1981, I believe, Our Lady is appearing. And it is a true miracle for me, because I don't need any other description, but just to see that the communist doctors who have never prayed in their life agreed to come. First of all, it's a miracle already, and the second, they agreed to participate on a pilgrimage, which involves Medjugorje generally is involved in the sacraments. It's every evening. All the pilgrims who are there join the evening program, which is a prayer and the Holy Mass and adoration. And so for several hours, these doctors were exposed to the sacraments and the prayer, a simple prayer of Our Lady, a rosary. And it brought tremendous difference in their life. If to say the first day when they came in, they were just looking around shocked, sort of, how many people are going around and praying the rosaries. Well, very next day they went down to Operation Heal, and this is something fascinating, because I could see that how they were changing step by step, and so they are coming from the heart of the communism right away to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, so beautifully, so vividly, and they're consecrating themselves down there. And the very next day after this, one doctor shared a tremendous experience she had. She said she shared with all of the present there, with all of the doctors, what have happened to her. She was a very important doctor in one city of Cherkas, a quite large city. She's a top doctor who's responsible for all obstetricians in the city and in the region. Very, very educated person, and person who had, in the eyes of all doctors, she was really high. Important. Yes, important. So, when the question was about, when the question arose, well, should this woman, if she's very young, in doing drugs, keep her child? It would be better to abort. She stood up. She couldn't handle any more to be silent, she stood up and she said, "Let me share something with you. What happened to me yesterday, and that it might be clear to you what it is." She said, "As soon as I put my foot onto those stones on the mountain which we climbed," she said, "I couldn't see anything in front of me, and anything in front of me, but every single stone turned out to me into the bones and skulls, the whole mountain." She said, "And I understood what I have done with my own hands. I have killed the city with my own hands."
So she saw a mountain of bones and skulls.
Yes, yes. And, you know, I must mention that this lady never practiced a faith. She doesn't go to the church. She never had any visions in her life. She started from this to explain it to the people. You know, and what I wanted to emphasize is here, what important, miracles can happen to us every single day, you know, and to some very vividly, to some not, you know, but what is important it is, and what happens after we consecrate ourselves to Our Lady. She have permission to purify our heart and fill it with the grace. And so, which is very important for Russia. But it seems that Our Lady is really begun to do something incredibly beautiful in Ukraine.
Що ми можемо заспівати цей хор? Яку пісню?
Надо еще раз.
Хто стане апаратом?
Я не понял про песню.
Спаси, і милість свою нам яви. Боже, я знаю, що ти будеш з нами, в храмі своєму під небесами, радість і мир ти.
Да, просто 16 ВУ, еще Богом
Bye. 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 You could be discouraged, but I see in you such joy. What is the secret to your joy? That's a surprise question you didn't know was coming. But you have such joy, and I have to think that comes from, from a life of prayer. And you want to say anything about where does that joy come from?
Our joy, our only source is certainly the Holy Sacraments, and what one can do without the Holy Sacraments, what one can do without God, nothing. It's impossible. And He is our joy in the midst of the even suffering, because mission work is not always so easy. It is a hard work, but it certainly brings peace that you know when it comes from the hand of God. And saying yes to Him simply every single day. Say, yes, Father, I will do it. You want this to happen, then let that be happen.